Something strange is happening with the moon, and the signs are too big to ignore. Scientists have been watching, astrologers have been whispering, and those who are truly awake, well, they already feel it. The moon, our silent guardian in the night sky, is shifting, changing, almost as if it's trying to send us a message. And trust me, once you hear what's really going on, you'll never look at it the same way again. For centuries, the moon has been a symbol of mystery, guiding the tides, influencing emotions, and holding secrets older than time itself. But what if I told you that something is off? Reports have surfaced about unexplained shifts in the moon's orbit, subtle yet undeniable. Some say it's a natural cycle, just science doing its thing. But others, they believe this is the first sign of something huge, something that could change the course of our world forever. And here's where it gets really bizarre. A handful of astronomers have noted strange energy fluctuations surrounding recent full moons, static interference, unusual radiation readings, and, get this, even government observatories going silent about their latest lunar findings. Sounds suspicious, doesn't it? Almost like someone doesn't want us to know what's really happening up there. But wait, there's more. Ancient prophecies from civilizations long gone, from the Mayans to the Sumerians, spoke of a time when the moon itself would shake as a warning, a signal that an era was ending and something new was beginning. Could this be it? Could we be standing on the edge of something so profound, so unbelievable, that only those who are truly paying attention will be prepared? And let's not forget the astrology side of this. Many astrologers are freaking out over upcoming lunar alignments, warning that they will heighten emotions, trigger awakenings, and even bring global revelations. Relationships breaking apart overnight, hidden truths rising to the surface, and people suddenly feeling an urge to change everything about their lives. Sound familiar? If you've been feeling restless, if your dreams have been weirdly intense, or if you've been sensing that something big is just around the corner, you're not imagining it. The moon might just be waking us up to something we've been blind to for too long. But here's the real kicker. Some spiritual leaders claim that the moon's energy is shifting because humanity is shifting. That as we move into this new phase, the old ways can't survive. Old systems, old beliefs, even old relationships, they're all being forced to transform. And for those who resist, well, let's just say, the universe doesn't wait for those who refuse to evolve. So the question is, are you ready? Are you listening? Because the moon isn't just shining down on us anymore, it's warning us. And what comes next? Well, let's just say it's going to be unforgettable. They told us the moon was just a lifeless rock, orbiting Earth, pulling the tides, nothing more. But what if that was never the full truth? What if the moon is more than just a celestial body? What if it's a key, a portal, a silent observer watching over us, influencing us in ways most people never even realize? And here's where it gets really interesting. Every culture, every ancient civilization that studied the skies, from the Egyptians to the Chinese, from the Celts to the Mayans, all of them treated the moon as something more than just a rock in space. It was a guide, a messenger, a force that dictated energy, fate, even destiny. And now, in April 2025, with the moon's energy shifting like never before, those who understand its power are feeling it deeply. Tell me something. Have you been feeling off lately? A strange restlessness? A pull towards something unknown? Maybe your dreams have been getting wild, intense, almost like someone or something is trying to tell you something. Maybe you've been waking up at odd hours, specifically around 2 or 3 a.m., staring at the night sky with this unexplainable feeling in your chest. If that's happening to you, don't brush it off, because what's coming is bigger than you think. Now, let's talk about the real connection between the moon and human energy. Scientists have already proven that the moon influences water. And guess what? The human body is over 60% water. That means every lunar cycle, every full moon, new moon, and eclipse doesn't just affect the ocean tides, it affects you, your emotions, your thoughts, your very vibration. Ever wonder why hospitals report more emergency room visits during full moons? Why people seem to go just a little bit crazier? Why ancient healers align their rituals with lunar cycles? It's because the moon acts like a cosmic amplifier, intensifying everything that's already inside you. The good, the bad, the buried, the unspoken. And right now, that energy is shifting into uncharted territory. Some call it the beginning of the Great Awakening. Others say it's a final warning before an enormous energy shift that will divide those who are truly awake from those who are still trapped in the illusion. Because let's be honest, most people are trapped, stuck in the same routines, following the same rules, never questioning why they feel so disconnected, so lost. But the moon? It doesn't follow human laws. It operates on cosmic time. And when it shifts, we feel it. And here's the part nobody's talking about. The moon isn't just reflecting light, it's reflecting you. Every fear, every hidden truth, every suppressed emotion you thought you buried years ago, yeah, the moon sees it. And when its energy intensifies, all of that comes to the surface. That's why some people feel emotional breakdowns around full moons. That's why relationships either deepen or completely fall apart. That's why some of the most life-changing decisions people make, quitting a job, moving to a new place, ending toxic friendships, often happen during major lunar phases. The moon pushes you to see the truth, even if you're not ready. But wait, it gets even wilder. Because if you think this is just about personal change, think again. This isn't just about you. This is about us, humanity, the collective energy of the planet. Because just like individuals experience transformation under lunar energy, so does the entire world. Think back. Every major historical shift, every mass awakening, every revolution, they all happen during times of extreme planetary energy shifts. And right now, we are stepping into one of the most intense lunar energy phases in history. So, what does that mean? Well, buckle up, because the things you once trusted blindly, the systems, the structures, the rules that have kept society in check for decades, are about to be exposed. The illusion is cracking. People are starting to wake up, question reality, demand truth. And the moon? It's been waiting for this moment all along. But let's talk about you. Because if you're still watching this, it means you're feeling this shift on a soul level. And that's not random. The people who resonate with these messages, the ones who feel like something bigger is happening, they're the ones being called to step up, to listen, to prepare. Because once the moon's energy reaches its peak, there won't be time to catch up. You'll either be ready or you'll be left behind. So what can you do? First, pay attention. Your emotions, your thoughts, your dreams, they're all carrying messages. The next time you feel that strange pull to go outside and just stare at the moon, don't ignore it, sit with it, meditate under its light, journal what comes up. Because I guarantee you, there's a reason. Second, cleanse your energy. The moon amplifies everything, which means if you're holding on to negativity, fear, toxic habits, they're only going to feel heavier. And trust me, you do not want to carry that baggage into the next phase of this shift. And third, don't be afraid to let go. Some people in your life, they're not meant to come with you on this journey. Some beliefs you've held for years, they're not serving you anymore. The moon's energy isn't gentle, it's a mirror, and what it's reflecting back at you might not always be pretty, but it's necessary. Because only those who are willing to face the truth will be ready for what comes next. So, I'll ask you again, have you been feeling different lately? Like something is calling you? If you have, don't ignore it. Because the moon is speaking, and the ones who listen, well, they're the ones who will be ready. All right, take a deep breath. Because what I'm about to say might change everything you thought you knew. We've talked about the moon's strange shifts. We've uncovered its deep spiritual connection to human energy. But now, let's get to the real question. What's coming next? What does all of this actually mean for you, for your life, for the world as we know it? Because let me tell you right now, this is not just some random cosmic event. This is the beginning of something massive. And whether you realize it or not, you're already in the middle of it. So here's the deal. Every few thousand years, there's a reset, a moment where the energy of the planet shifts so dramatically that life itself is never the same again. And guess what? That moment is now. Let me ask you something. Have you been feeling like time itself is speeding up? Like days blur together, like you can barely catch your breath before another major event rocks the world? That's not in your head. That's the frequency of reality shifting. The moon, acting as Earth's energetic regulator, is accelerating that shift, making sure that the old ways collapse so that something new can be born. And when I say old ways, I mean everything. Outdated systems, false beliefs, toxic relationships, even your own identity. They're all being put under the cosmic microscope. And here's where it gets really intense. There are two paths unfolding right now. Some people are going to rise, step into a new version of themselves, embrace this shift, and unlock levels of clarity and power they never knew existed. Others, they're going to resist, They're going to cling to the old reality, ignore the signs, and pretend like nothing is happening. But guess what? The moon doesn't wait. This shift doesn't wait. And the ones who refuse to evolve? They're going to feel stuck, confused, exhausted, like life itself is working against them. You've probably already seen it happening. Some people in your life might be spiraling right now, arguing over the smallest things, acting irrational, losing control. That's because their energy is out of alignment with the new frequency that's emerging. The moon is shaking things up, forcing people to confront the truth. And those who aren't ready, they're feeling the pressure hard. And let's talk about that truth for a second. Because one of the biggest things this shift is bringing, revelations, information that's been buried, secrets that have been kept in the shadows, things that were once hidden from us. They're all coming to the surface. On a global level, yes, but also on a personal level. You might start seeing people for who they really are. You might suddenly realize that a belief you've carried your entire life was never even yours to begin with. You might wake up one morning and feel like a completely different person. That's not an accident. That's the moon's energy pulling back the curtain, exposing everything that's been lurking in the dark. And look, I get it. Change is terrifying, especially when it feels like the ground beneath you is constantly shifting. But here's the thing. If you've been feeling lost, uncertain, questioning everything, congratulations. That means you're awake. That means you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Because only those who question are able to see the truth. And the truth is, we are stepping into a world that looks nothing like the one we grew up in. The rules are changing. The way we connect, the way we create, even the way we think. All of it is evolving at an unprecedented rate. And the ones who embrace that evolution, they're going to thrive in ways we can't even imagine yet. So the question you need to ask yourself isn't what's coming next. The real question is, are you ready for it? Because the moon's energy isn't slowing down. The shift is already here. And what happens next? Well, that's up to you. All right, now that you know what's coming, it's time to talk about what you can do. Because make no mistake, this isn't something you can just sit back and watch like a movie. The moon's energy is moving fast. And if you're not preparing for this shift, you might find yourself overwhelmed, exhausted, or completely lost. But if you know how to navigate it, you'll come out of this stronger, more in tune with your purpose, and ready for whatever comes next. So listen carefully, because these next few steps are going to be game changers. First things first, you need to cleanse your energy. If you don't, you're going to feel like you're carrying a backpack full of bricks while the world is moving in double speed. You ever notice how during full moons people get more emotional, more reactive, more chaotic? That's because the moon is pulling out everything that's buried inside them. And right now, that effect is on overdrive. If you've been feeling more anxious, more drained, more on edge, it's not just in your head. You're feeling the weight of everything this shift is exposing. And the only way to move through it is to let that baggage go. Start simple. Take a deep breath. Look at your life. What's weighing you down? Is it certain people, certain habits, certain thought patterns? The moon is literally forcing you to face what no longer serves you. And if you don't clear that energy out, it's going to drag you down in the coming months. So whether that means journaling out your emotions, cutting ties with toxic people, or even just spending time alone to figure out what you truly want, do it. Because the lighter your energy is, the easier it will be to navigate this shift. Second, protect your energy. Right now, people are spiraling. Some are waking up to the truth, but others, they're resisting it. And resistance leads to fear, anger, and desperation. You might notice people around you acting irrational, picking fights over nothing, lashing out for no reason. That's because they're feeling the shift, but they don't understand it. And if you're not careful, you could absorb all that negative energy without even realizing it. So, what do? Set boundaries. Protect your peace like your life depends on it, because energetically, it does. If someone in your life is constantly draining you, constantly filling your space with fear and negativity, you don't owe them access to your energy. This is the time to be ruthless with what and who you allow into your space. Because if you're carrying other people's energy, you won't be able to focus on your own alignment. And trust me, you're going to need that focus. Third, start listening to your intuition like never before. Because here's the thing, your intuition, it's about to get louder. You might start getting gut feelings stronger than ever. You might feel drawn to places, people, opportunities you never considered before. You might even start receiving messages in your dreams. That's not a coincidence. That's the moon's energy activating parts of your consciousness that have been asleep for years. But here's where most people mess up. They ignore it. They think, Oh, that's just my imagination. But let me tell you something, your imagination, that's the language of the universe speaking directly to you. So if you're suddenly feeling pulled toward a new path, a new way of living, a completely different version of yourself, don't fight it. Explore it. Trust it. Because the more you listen, the stronger that guidance will become. And finally, embrace the unknown. This shift, it's going to feel chaotic, unpredictable. Like one moment, everything makes sense. And the next, the world feels upside down. And that's because we're moving into a completely new reality. The way we think, the way we live, even the way time itself feels, it's all shifting. And if you try to hold on to the old ways, the old routines, the old beliefs, you're going to feel stuck. But if you surrender to it, if you allow yourself to flow with this change instead of fighting against it, that's when the magic happens. That's when you start to see opportunities you never noticed before. That's when you feel a sense of clarity, purpose, and alignment that most people never experience in their lifetime. So here's the question. Are you ready? Because this shift isn't waiting. The moon is speaking. And the ones who listen, they're about to step into something extraordinary. So now that you know what's happening, why it matters, and how you can prepare, the only question left is, what happens next? What's the final outcome of this cosmic shift? Where does it all lead? And most importantly, are you ready for it? Because let me tell you, this isn't just about the moon. This isn't just about energy shifts or planetary changes. This is about something bigger, something that has been building for decades, centuries, even millennia. Look around you. Can't you feel it? The world itself is teetering on the edge of something massive. Technology is advancing faster than we can keep up. People are waking up to realities they never questioned before, systems that once seemed untouchable. Governments, economies, corporations are cracking under pressure. It's like reality itself is shifting, reshaping, rewriting the rules right in front of our eyes. And the moon? It's just the messenger. It's the cosmic signal that we are moving into a new era, one where the old ways cannot survive. But here's the real kicker. Not everyone will make it through this shift the same way. Some will thrive, others will struggle, and some will feel so out of place in this new energy that they'll do everything they can to hold on to the past. But let me make one thing very clear. There is no going back. The door has already opened, the energy is already moving, and those who try to resist will only feel more lost, more stuck, more disconnected from themselves than ever before. And I don't say this to scare you. I say this because you need to choose. Right now, you have two options. Option one, you cling to the old world, the old systems, the old way of thinking. You pretend that nothing is happening. You ignore the signs. You resist the change that's already here. But let me warn you, that path is hard. It will feel like life is pushing against you, like no matter what you do, nothing feels right anymore. Or option two, you embrace the shift. You accept that things are changing, and instead of fighting it, you move with it. You start listening to your intuition. You start questioning everything you once thought was true. And you open yourself up to the possibilities that exist beyond what you can see. And that path? That's where the magic is. That's where you unlock the next level of yourself. Because make no mistake, this isn't just about the world changing. This is about you changing. And I know you can feel it. Maybe you don't have the words for it yet, but deep down, you know that something inside you is shifting. Your desires are changing. The things that used to make you happy, maybe they don't feel the same anymore. The life you thought you wanted, maybe you're realizing it wasn't actually your dream. It was someone else's. And now, for the first time, you're questioning everything. And that's a good thing, because questioning means growth. Growth means transformation. And transformation means you are aligning with your true self, the version of you that was always meant to emerge. So, what do you do now? Your next steps, how to align with the shift. Now that you know what's coming, how do you make sure you're not just surviving this shift, but actually using it to become the most powerful, awakened version of yourself? Here's what you need to focus on. 1. Let go of what no longer serves you. This is probably the hardest step, but it's also the most important. The moon's energy is shaking things up, and that means a lot of old baggage is coming to the surface. This could be emotional wounds, toxic relationships, outdated beliefs, or even your entire way of life. If something in your life feels heavy, draining, or misaligned, take it as a sign. It's time to release it. And yes, I know, that's easier said than done. Letting go can be painful. But think about this. If you're carrying around a backpack full of bricks, how can you ever expect to fly? This shift is about lightening your load so that you can step into the next version of yourself without being weighed down by the past. 2. Trust your intuition. Like, really trust it. I don't mean trust it in a vague, philosophical way. I mean literally start listening to it every single day. If something feels off, if a situation gives you a weird gut feeling, if you suddenly feel drawn to a new path, pay attention. That's your higher self trying to guide you. And the more you listen, the clearer that guidance will become. Right now, the people who are thriving in this energy are the ones who are acting on their intuition without hesitation. They're making bold moves, taking risks, changing their lives because they feel it's time. And those who ignore their intuition, they're the ones feeling lost, uncertain, and disconnected. 3. Get comfortable with uncertainty. Here's the truth. This shift is not going to be predictable. You will feel like your plans are falling apart, like things are happening out of nowhere, like nothing is going the way you expected. And that's okay. In fact, it's necessary. Because this shift isn't about holding on to the past, it's about stepping into the unknown. And the unknown, that's where all the magic happens. The people who are going to thrive in this new energy are the ones who learn to let go of the need for control. Instead of trying to predict everything, they flow with what comes. They embrace the uncertainty. And in doing so, they open themselves up to possibilities they never even considered before. 4. Find your soul tribe. This is a big one. Right now, more than ever, you need to surround yourself with people who are aligned with your energy. The ones who get it, the ones who are also waking up, questioning reality, seeking deeper truths. Because let's be honest, the world is still full of people who are completely asleep. And if you spend too much time around those people, their energy will pull you back into that old reality. So, if you've been feeling disconnected from old friends, if certain relationships suddenly don't feel the same, trust that. It's a sign that you're outgrowing those old dynamics. And the more you step into this new energy, the more you'll attract like-minded souls who are on the same journey. 5. Step into your power now. Stop waiting. Stop telling yourself you'll change someday. Stop thinking you need to have it all figured out before you take action. Because the truth is, you're already ready. Everything you need is already inside you. The moon isn't just shifting the energy of the planet, it's shifting you. It's unlocking parts of yourself you've been disconnected from for too long. And now, it's time to step into your purpose, to stop hiding, to start speaking your truth, to fully own who you are without fear. Because guess what? The old world is fading, the new world is rising, and the ones who are willing to embrace the shift, they're the ones who will lead the way. So I'll ask you one last time. Are you ready? Because the countdown has already begun. And what happens next? Well, that's up to you.